The countdown is on for Celtic's next European night under the lights, and while the buzz around the team should be electric, things off the pitch are setting a different tone. Tomorrow, Celtic host Braga in the Europa League, a matchup that, on paper, should get fans fired up. But ahead of the action on the field, there's a different kind of noise, or rather, silence, making headlines. It's October 1st, and with the game just around the corner, Celtic fans are gearing up for a 29-minute silent protest at the start of the match. It's a coordinated statement, 29 minutes for the 29 days of silence from the club's board, following a widely supported open letter demanding more transparency and communication. The message is clear: break the silence, and the protest ends. But if the board continues to ignore the fans, the silence in the stands will speak volumes. That tension between the club's hierarchy and the fan base has cast a bit of a shadow over what should be a vibrant European night at Celtic Park. The protest itself has stirred debate. Some feel it's not the right time or place, especially with the team needing full backing during such a pivotal stretch of the season. But others insist that now is exactly the time, especially when it feels like the club's priorities are elsewhere. Instead of responding to their own supporters, the board seems more focused on launching new merchandise collections, like a £200 Henrik Larsson watch, and pushing ticket sales. It's left many fans feeling disconnected from the people running the club. Still, despite all the noise off the pitch, or lack of it, there's a game to be played. And a big one at that. Braga come into this tie as a familiar presence in the Europa League. They're Portugal's fourth powerhouse, constantly finishing just behind the traditional giants of Sporting, Benfica, and Porto. 8 of the last 11 seasons they've ended the campaign in 4th place. They've got Europa League experience in abundance, more than Celtic in recent years, and they've made a habit of going deep into the competition. This season they came through the qualifiers with relative ease, brushing aside Levski Sofia, Cluj, and Lincoln Red Imps. Their most recent outing was a solid, if not spectacular, win over Feyenoord at home. It wasn't pretty, but it got the job done, and that seems to sum up Braga at the moment. They're managed by Carlos McGinn, a name that might not be familiar to most fans, but comes with serious coaching pedigree. Before taking over at Braga this summer, he spent 4 years at Manchester City as Pep Guardiola's assistant. Known for his attention to detail and especially his expertise in set pieces, McGinn is now stepping out of the shadows to prove himself as a head coach. And while Braga's domestic form has been shaky, just 2 wins in 7 league games, they've looked sharper in Europe. They've won their last 6 matches in the competition and seem to be building some continental momentum. Still, it's far from smooth sailing for the Spanish coach. Reports in Portugal suggest his job could already be on the line, with the upcoming clash against Sporting being framed as a make-or-break fixture. That might seem harsh, but it also shows the level of expectation surrounding Braga these days. Tactically, Braga are an interesting side. They play with a back 3 and use wingbacks aggressively. In possession, it's more of a 3-5-2, pushing high and wide. But when defending, they fall back into a compact 5-3-2, closing spaces and limiting chances inside the box. They don't mind sitting deep, and if Celtic aren't sharp or quick enough in their build-up, it could be a frustrating 90 minutes. Feyenoord, in their match last week, had a tough time creating anything clear-cut, and their best moment actually came just before Braga scored, with a dangerous early cross that nearly found the back of the net. That might be a clue for Celtic. Early balls into the box could be key, especially if Braga are set up to block off the byline and sit deep. One familiar face fans might recognize in the Braga backline is Gustav Lagerbielke, who now lines up on the right side of their back 3. Celtic supporters will remember what he brings, or doesn't bring, to the table. Calm in possession, sure, but not the most convincing defender when exposed. If Celtic can move the ball quickly and get players running at him, there's a real opportunity there. But that's a big if, considering how slow and labored some of our attacks have been this season. And yet, there is reason for cautious optimism. Despite the attacking struggles, Celtic's defense has quietly been one of the most solid units in Europe this season. Just 3 goals conceded in 11 matches across all competitions, including tough trips to places like Ibrox and even further afield to Kazakhstan and Serbia. That record is no accident. Brendan Rodgers may still be searching for fluidity in the final third, but at the back, the team has been reliable, and a lot of that comes down to the form of Liam Scales. Scales has been arguably Celtic's best player in recent weeks. Rodgers himself praised the defender in an interview released by Celtic TV, calling his performances superb and commending his consistency and trustworthiness. It's high praise and deserved. While there might still be questions about his composure on the ball or decision-making under pressure, there's no denying that defensively, he stepped up big time, especially when others around him have struggled with injuries or form. Cameron Carter-Vickers, for example, has yet to hit his best level this season, and the fullback positions have been rotating due to fitness issues. In that context, Scales has been the rock holding it all together. If Celtic are to get anything from this Braga game, especially a clean sheet to build from, it'll likely be thanks to another solid shift from him. Looking ahead to the match, Brendan Rodgers knows the stakes. He's called on the team to translate their improved performances, like the one we saw against Hibs, into goals. Celtic looked sharp in that game, quick on the ball and aggressive in the press, but still struggled to find the back of the net. That's the missing piece, and the message from Rodgers has been consistent. Performance is one thing, but it needs to lead to results. And speaking of results, tomorrow's game could hinge on small details. Braga, for all their pedigree and structure, are beatable. They're organized but not impenetrable, and they're also not afraid to go long when needed. Their Moroccan striker, Amin El Wazani, is a physical handful, and Braga will look to him as an outlet when under pressure. It's not all tiki-taka just because their manager worked with Pep. If anything, they mix it up more than people might expect. João Moutinho, even at 39 years old, still pulls the strings in midfield, and if Celtic give him space, he will punish them. But close those spaces down, stay compact, and Celtic can control the tempo. There's also the question of personnel. Austin Trusty, who's been out since the first leg against Kairat, is back in training and could be available. He posted on social media this week that he's back and feeling good, though Rodgers hasn't confirmed yet if he'll be in the squad. Having him even as an option would be a boost, adding depth at the back and potentially freeing up some tactical flexibility. And then there's the small matter of the referee. Tobias Steeler of Germany is in charge of this one. Celtic fans might remember him from that famous win away to Lazio in 2019. That was one of our best European results in recent memory. But he also officiated our heavy loss to Sparta Prague a year later, so it's a mixed bag. Still, this will be his first time at Celtic Park, and hopefully, the atmosphere, even with the opening protest, will leave an impression. Tomorrow night under the lights of Celtic Park, what matters most is what happens between those white lines. All the politics, the silence, the merchandise, the timing of the kickoff. None of that will score a goal or make a tackle. When the whistle blows, it's Celtic versus Braga, and for 90 minutes, it's football that has to take center stage. This is a real chance for Celtic to make a statement in Europe, to show they belong in this competition, and to prove that the frustration from supporters isn't just about boardroom decisions. It's about wanting more, expecting better, and believing this team is capable of more. But talk is cheap. The only way to change the mood around the club is to win football matches. That starts tomorrow. Braga are no mugs. They know how to play on the European stage. They might be struggling a bit in their domestic league, sitting 7th in Portugal, but they've found form in Europe and are clearly prioritizing this competition. Winning their last 6 matches in the Europa League is no small feat, and those results haven't come against pub teams either. They've grown in confidence as they've moved through the qualifiers and into the group stage, and right now, they probably see Celtic as vulnerable. And to be fair, Celtic are still very much a work in progress under Brendan Rodgers. There are moments where you can see his ideas taking shape, especially with how the team presses, how they try to dominate the ball, how the shape holds when out of possession. But there's also still that nagging inconsistency, the tendency to lose momentum mid-game, the struggle to create clear-cut chances when facing a packed defense. And Braga, for all their attacking intent, are well drilled when it comes to defending as a unit. When they drop into that back 5, it's hard to find openings, especially if you're not moving the ball fast enough or pulling them out of shape. That's where Celtic need to be brave. Quick 1-2s, sharp movement off the ball, and a bit of unpredictability in the final third. This is not a game where side-to-side passing for the sake of possession will get you very far. Braga will sit, they'll absorb, and they'll wait for a mistake. If Celtic can play with urgency, especially early on, they can force Braga into decisions they don't want to make. One concern, though, is that the first 29 minutes are going to be flat because of the silent protest. It's going to be surreal, a European night at home with barely a sound. That atmosphere, the roar of the Celtic crowd, is one of the team's greatest weapons. Stripping that away, even temporarily, gives Braga a comfort they should never be allowed. The fear is that Celtic start well, create a couple of early chances, but without the backing of the crowd, the energy just doesn't build. That's the gamble the fans are making. It's a protest with a purpose, no doubt, but the timing could impact the rhythm of the match. Still, the players need to find that fire internally. They can't afford to sleepwalk through half an hour waiting for the stands to wake up. This is the Europa League, and margins are small. One mistake, one lapse in concentration, and you're chasing the game. And chasing Braga, when they've got something to defend, is not ideal. Their system is built to frustrate, but they also have enough quality to hurt teams when the opportunity presents itself. João Moutinho, despite being 39, is the kind of player who sees passes others don't. He doesn't cover the ground like he used to, but his vision and intelligence more than make up for that. If you give him a second too long on the ball, he'll pick the lock. Celtic need to stay tight on him, cut off those passing lanes, and make sure he's not allowed to dictate tempo. Further up the pitch, McGinn LEAVES is a different kind of threat. Big, strong, physical, he's the kind of forward who thrives on direct play. Braga aren't shy about going long, especially if they're under pressure. They'll knock it into the channels, or go straight into his chest, and look to play off him. It's not what you'd expect from a side coached by someone from Pep Guardiola's camp, but it's effective, and it's something Celtic need to be ready for. Carter Vickers and Scales will have to win those duels. They'll need to be aggressive but smart, avoiding cheap fouls and not letting him turn. And speaking of the center backs, all eyes will be on Liam Scales again. It's almost mad to think how far he's come in such a short space of time. Not long ago, he looked like he was on his way out the door. Now he's arguably the first name on the team sheet. His rise has been one of the most unexpected but welcome stories of the season so far. What he's lacked in finesse, he's made up for with pure heart and defensive discipline. Tomorrow will be another big test, but if he can deliver once again, it's another big tick in his column. As for the midfield, this is a match where Celtic need control. If Callum McGregor can find space and dictate the play, if Matt O'Reilly can arrive late into the box, and if someone like Paulo Bernardo or David Turnbull can provide a bit of spark, then Celtic will have a real chance to break down this Braga block. The challenge is making it all come together at the right time. Up top, questions remain. Goals have been hard to come by, and even when Celtic dominate matches, they've often lacked that clinical edge. That has to change. There's no room for hesitation in front of goal tomorrow. Whether it's Kyogo, Maeda, or whoever gets the nod, they need to be sharp and decisive. Chances will be limited, and they have to be taken. This isn't a game where you can afford to be wasteful. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Whispers have begun to echo through the Scottish football scene, carrying with them a rumor that has left both sides of the border buzzing. According to talk in pubs, terraces, and even behind closed doors at training grounds, John McGinn, the tireless midfielder long admired for his grit and guile at Aston Villa, has supposedly stepped away from the Midlands to take up a new role north of Hadrian's Wall, and not just any role. The word is that McGinn has walked straight into Celtic's dressing room, not as a bystander, but as its heart, its voice, its leader. If true, it is a twist almost poetic in nature. McGinn has long been linked with a return to Scotland, his name circling around Parkhead more times than supporters could count. Yet such rumors often fizzled into nothing more than wishful thinking. This time, though, the murmur feels different. The chatter is not just about a possible signing. It's about presence, about influence. Allegedly, McGinn has already stamped his authority on Celtic's inner sanctum, commanding respect with the same blend of humor and hard work that made him a cult hero at Villa Park. The timing, of course, is curious. Celtic, chasing domestic dominance and looking to make a meaningful mark in Europe, would see in McGinn the sort of seasoned campaigner who bridges experience with energy. Aston Villa, meanwhile, have been riding a wave in the Premier League, and losing their skipper would raise eyebrows, if not alarm bells. Could it be that McGinn, having given his all in England, felt the tug of home too strong to resist? Or is this rumor simply another chapter in the never-ending tale of Celtic's search for midfield steel? No official word has been uttered, no crest has been kissed, no unveiling staged beneath the glare of green and white scarves. Still, the whispers grow louder with each passing hour. For the faithful at Parkhead, the thought of McGinn rallying the huddle before a derby clash stirs the imagination. For Villa fans, the idea of losing their captain is almost unthinkable. Yet football thrives on such uncertainty, on the delicate line between fact and speculation. And right now, the story of John McGinn, from Birmingham to Glasgow, from villain to boy, feels like the kind of tale that could either vanish in smoke or explode into reality with a roar. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.